Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets, joined once again by Cindy Young. She's the J6 grandmother. We've done lots of shows with her. Of all the J6ers that are out there, Cindy Young has probably the heart of a lion, right? She's one of the few people that have come out and really have pushed back on the false narrative and so forth. I was watching your show with was it David Summerall? David
Yeah,
Summerall,
David. Yeah.
and really, really good show. We'll play a few clips of that. But he mentioned in there, which I think is so apropos, is that this J6 event was like Tiananmen Square. Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jacob
Absolutely.
with Unleashing
It
Intuition
was
Secrets.
our
Joined once again by
Tiananmen
Michelle
Square. It
Melendez.
was our,
So we're going to
you
be talking
might
about
even say it
the
was our 9/11.
Lahaina
The
directed energy
prosecution
weapon
loves to say it was
attack,
worse than
and the aftermath of
9/11,
that is still
but I
ongoing.
bet on
In the
9/11
aftermath
they
of that
won't say
devastating
that, you
Lahaina
know?
directed energy weapon
So,
wildfire, definitely. Hold on a second.
yeah.
So I'll say it. Another in the aftermath of that devastating yeah, it's definitely a very dark stain on America. And so you're one of, like you said, you're one of the few people that are pushing back. Now, I'm gonna share the
Just
screen real
talking.
quick and let everybody see,
serious
something about the
background
military,
information going on.
the J6 veterans.
There we go. All
All
right,
right, so we
got
had
it. All right,
veterans
so
on a massive scale there. Here it is, the Army's on the top. Lots of veterans that were J6ers. You got the Air Force here, the Navy, and the Marine Corps. So many. I mean, you could zoom in on any one of these individuals, and there's a whole story on all of them. I remember in particular Thomas Caldwell, I think a Navy captain, and they just destroyed his life.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. So, but every single one of these, unfortunately, individuals has a very unfortunate story like that. Some of them have committed suicide, all kinds of crazy. What have you heard about this?
Well, we've had one that committed suicide. I'm not sure if he was military, but just last week we had a J6er that just couldn't go on anymore, gave up. And right now we're up to 29 deaths of J6 defendants. So that's including the ones that died there that day, but a combination of suicides and people that have died. It's really tragic. And it's tragic that looking at that picture, those were the military that got charged. I believe there were many more police officers, first responders, military that were there that day
Right.
that didn't get charged that we don't know about. And even the military that did get charged, they were highly decorated. Joe Biggs, I just did an interview with him. Two Purple Hearts, two tours, 10 years service, you know? And these people, the government has destroyed their lives. Like Joe, they took all his VA benefits away. They commuted his sentence. He hasn't even received a pardon. He's waiting. There's like 12, 13 of them that are waiting to be pardoned still that had commuted sentences. And they're all military, and all of their military benefits were stripped. They
Wow.
court-martialed him while he was in solitary confinement.
Good God.
Yeah.
So, and here's a request for pardon of innocence. This will be the next step that we hope to be seeing soon
Mhm.
for the pardon. We'll show that little piece of paper that you got for a pardon. It really didn't do anything other than to keep you out of prison, which is a good thing, and get a lot of
That's
people out of prison. So we're not knocking it. It was a great, fantastic move, but it fell unfortunately fairly short because a lot of you have still your lives are still ruined.
right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So the pardon of innocence that we received, it wasn't even signed, by the way. It was a PDF file that I could put your name on, Mike, and give you a pardon of innocence if you'd like. But it didn't change our lives. For myself, I have four convictions, and the pardon sits on top of those convictions. But if anybody looks me up, say I wanted to get a new job, which happens to J6ers all the time, the first thing people are going to look at is what's on the internet about you. And then once they see what's on the internet about you, forget the job. You're not going to get hired because
Hmm.
most of us can't find jobs, can't, you know. So if you look at that, that came to us. We had to even ask for the copy of it. We had to write to the pardon attorney, give them our name, and then we got this PDF file that is our pardon, which I'm not saying I'm not grateful. I'm not in jail. So yeah,
Yeah. And it's
grateful.
funny because you get the pardon on the day, I think the day of or day before you're supposed to go to jail, right?
Yeah. See the date
Wow.
there, District of Columbia, January 27th. I
Hmm.
was due to report to FDC prison in Philadelphia on the 28th at 2 p.m.
How long were you supposed to serve?
4 months in prison, then followed by 2 months home detention, and then 2 years probation.
Good God. I mean, I was at your trial and what a travesty of justice. Absolute travesty. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But and the repercussions, I believe, that's going to happen for a lot of those people that were involved in that. And it's unbelievable. So let's jump in a little bit. Now I got some stuff to share on my end. I did a show with Major General Paul E. Vallely and Sheila Holm, and
Mhm.
both of them are very involved in helping J6ers with this pardon of innocence. I really think that it needs to happen.
It
If
does.
it doesn't happen, then you guys, there's no justice really ultimately for you
Right.
guys.
We just exist in a world that many hate us, some support us, and what's out there is out there and it follows us wherever we go.
Yeah.
And then think about if, God forbid, if the table flips and the Democrats get into power, nothing says they won't come back after us.
Oh,
They
there's no
will
question
be,
they will. Oh,
yeah,
they'll push hard. They're crying that, Trump is trying to do real justice and, go after the illegal aliens that are here in our country. But still, there's a lot of uncleaned up stuff that
yeah,
needs to be, focused on.
yes.
I don't know how many people were in the Trump administration that are multitaskers, but uh, it, we need to find some more of them. Now, when I did that show with Sheila and General Vallely, I had someone in the chat respond and said that they had sent that video because we said that people have to get involved here.
Yeah.
We need to do this, we need to do that. And someone said that I guess they had a contact with one of Trump's personal secretaries uh,
Mhm.
and had sent that video to him.
Oh,
So
wow.
we'll see what happens. I mean, he's a screener. Maybe he'll look at it and go, nah, we're gonna, there's too many other things,
Yeah.
there's too many other things out there. And there really is. There's so many different things to, press on. But I think this is definitely one of those. Now, here's the article that they wrote, request for pardon of innocence. It's definitely going to make a difference if it gets out there. So we found out through a thorough investigation analysis that sharing facts obtained that there were no viable options to contact a decorated Marine by email. So it goes on and on. The Marine being sentenced to prison for 18 months. So as just
The things
that's
that
just one.
happened, the things that happened to those that were incarcerated should have never happened in our country. I mean, we've got to have some kind of a law as far as putting people in solitary confinement for days on end. It's just inhumane what they fed them, how they treated them. Although you do have one little video of the DC Gulag that maybe you'll show it later in the show where the
Oh yeah,
guard wasn't too
sleep.
concerned about the people he was watching.
They're all like, these guys all come in here and they fall asleep. We're the terrorists. American terrorists, and they send in guards that fall asleep at the desk, leave their radios and everything. Yeah, we'll show that video. But here's a video that we put together after the show that we did, and I even kind of allude to you in this video, so you'll hear this. The day that Trump did the pardons, she was supposed to go to jail and got off.
There's been so much damage, and as Sheila will point out, it's affected almost 40,000 people. Family, aunts, uncles, grandparents,
Yeah,
bankruptcy, suicide.
there's a misrepresentation that's going on. People don't realize they were given pardons, but it wasn't to the level that it needs to be.
Pardon of innocence is what the J6 guys that started doing the assistance on the cases, not as attorneys, they're just regular people who experienced all of this, put together, researched, and found a pardon of innocence.
They started playing at night at 10:30 at night, the Star Spangled Banner, to keep the morale up. It was so bad. None of their congressmen, Republicans or Democrats, did anything to help them until President Trump came up with the clemency and forgiveness at that time. So,
All right, so that's kind of where we're at, forgiveness and clemency.
Right.
So, it's great. Like we said, you didn't have to go to prison. That's fantastic. People that were in prison got out, except for sounds like 12 are still there. They found
Pardons.
some way to keep them in there.
Well, they're not incarcerated, but they have been released for clemency,
Okay.
but they don't have any of their military benefits that they've earned. So,
Hmm.
so
Wow.
they're struggling big time.
Lives destroyed. Yeah, so many lives destroyed. It is like I said, travesty of justice. Now, let's look at some of the things that you shared with me, and we'll kind of go into that. And here's a picture of some of those guys. Share the screen again, and we're just going to keep sharing the screen here for a little bit. We're gonna skip through some of these slides that you shared with me.
Yeah.
So here's all the different the 12 guys you talked about. Stuart Rhodes, tell us a little bit about that.
So
Like,
Stuart Rhodes founded the Oath Keepers organization, and so the prosecution, the government, their narrative was that this whole thing was planned between Enrique Terrio of the Proud Boys and Stuart Rhodes. The seditious conspiracy to start the insurrection, and Stuart is another veteran. He's a paratrooper. And again, he's sitting there with his clemency without the VA benefits. I just did a really good interview with him and Joe Biggs, if anyone wants to go to my channel and check that out. But,
yeah, what's the name of your site? Let everybody know.
J6 from the Heart on
Yeah,
Rumble.
we'll put the link for that. That's you got some good videos in there.
Yeah,
And
I've tried.
we need some more views in there, so people need to discover you.
Yeah, my goal is to put out all the voices of J6, get things recorded for historical purposes. And I've done a lot of interviews with people you don't know. Like, some of these names because
Yeah.
they're the ones that were highlighted in what we call the show trials of DC. Their trial went on for months, I think, with the government. And, same stuff. They make a story up and the story becomes the reality of the day. And they show what they would do in court. You were there. They show just a piece of a clip that puts you in a position of guilt.
Right.
They don't show the other angle that might exonerate you. Half of the stuff they put up there doesn't have timestamps, so you can't correlate as to when it was occurring. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Right. And I know at your trial, you're showing you walking around with American flag. That should have been like, okay, there's a problem here. She's walking around with American flag in the Capitol. Hello. And then they kind of gave little clips of you like talking to different people and talking to an officer that tried to point you in the wrong direction to go. And then eventually you figured out how to get out. And they showed that video of you leaving.
Mm-hmm.
like, see, she's guilty. It's like,
Oh, yeah. Did you remember when he said, so when you walk through a magtometer, if you're looking at the magtometer from the other angle and someone walks through, the light goes off because somebody's moved through it. It's not because they have a prosecutor gets up and he goes, "Did you see the light go off?" Like I had a gun on me when I walked through it. They're crazy.
yeah, it was a horrible railroad job. So and that happened with a lot of the J6ers. Now, tell us a little about this redacted file here.
Okay, so right now I'm moving two things through the court. When I went to trial, before you go to trial, they have a pre-trial conference. And at my pre-trial conference, we had asked to bring this man up on the stand, which he was a metropolitan police officer, and he had been named 6 months prior in an interview by Laura Logan and Barry Loudermilk. They had named him. What he did that day was he dressed as a Trump supporter, and we have video of him saying, "Go, go, go, go in the Capitol."
Yep.
And so right now, that's all under seal. And what happens is they put it under seal and they leave it there, and the public never knows what really truly occurred and, what we were trying to point out during trial. So I've asked to bring that out of seal, and, the government's pushing back on it. But there's this analysis that courts need to do. Whenever they put something on seal, it's called the Hubbard Balancing Act. And they're supposed to take six factors and weigh them. And the first factor is public interest. Well, who's not interested in the truth of January 6th? Really? So I had told the judge that he needed to, revisit this because he never spoke about the Hubbard balancing and why they made the decision to put it under seal. So I want to know, what did you think about each of those factors and why did you decide to put everything under seal? Because what they should do is they should go for minimal redaction if that's what they have to do. But they just put the whole thing there, and um, where he had been identified in the public 6 months prior, there shouldn't have been an issue. It should have never gone under seal.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. Now, this is the procedural posture and timelines, newly discovered evidence.
yeah, so this is my meat of my motion. I discovered that the juror who was the lead juror on my jury team, he was actually a member of the Democratic National Committee.
Hmm.
Did work with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. He wrote positioning papers on all of the stuff that went on with Bernie Sanders. He was involved in WikiLeaks dumps. I mean, this guy was through and through big time DNC researcher. I've got all of the payments to him. I've got everything.
Wow.
So yeah, so right now the judge called me in for an emergency hearing. And it was, so I had put through this motion, and I can only reference him as jury 374, juror 374. You see it down below here. Um, so anyway, I'm only allowed to say that. I can't say his name. I can't dox him in any way. And that was what the emergency hearing was about. But the prosecution hadn't even done a response to my motion. So all he had in front of him was my motion. He calls this hearing. I go in and he tells me about this Rule 24.1, and I can't say the guy's name. But then he says, "I've looked through your Twitter feed and I've looked through all of your podcasts. I watched a couple of your podcasts, like the one on Truth Stream, the one with the lady with the red hair, and I want you to take it down because you talk about his name." And so I said, "Okay, my bad. I'll take it down. If that's the rule, I'll follow the rule."
So
But
this is the judge doing investigative work on you, huh?
Yeah, before
Wow.
any evidence is on the table. That goes against canon law, Judge Harvey, if you're
Hmm.
listening. And canon law is what you're supposed to follow. You're supposed to be impartial
Right.
and
Mm,
not biased. And you're
that's a
not
really
supposed
good
to
point.
be investigating me on your own.
Yeah. So I like this analogy that's in here. So this guy basically comes in. He's a Democrat uh, hit job guy, all
Yeah.
right, to
Yeah.
destroy conservatives in any chance he gets, especially J6ers. Uh, wasn't he in another trial as well?
I don't know if he
Or
was
there
or
was
not. I
somebody that
would,
was in your trial that was another trial
oh yeah, that was the other juror that they allowed to sit on the jury. She had sat through a whole nother J6 trial, and we know
and
how she
convicted
voted.
another J6er. Yeah.
Yep, yep. But
Wow.
so when I put through the motion, I said, okay, here's a comparison that you need to think about because you've got this juror that said he had no hard feelings about Donald Trump or his supporters, kind of didn't let himself be outed what his background was. What if a black defendant was tried in federal court and his involvement was with the 1992 Los Angeles riots? Imagine the jury foreperson is later found out to be Steve Miller. Would that concern them? Would that seem biased to them? You know?
Yeah, this the ridiculousness of this is starting to come out, and transcript excerpts demonstrating independent judicial review, like you were
Yeah, so
talking
that's
about. Yeah.
those are the statements Harvey made, you know.
Hmm.
I was in the process of reviewing the drafts of your order. I became aware that there were, I don't even know what they're called, Miss Young, tweets. He knows what they are. Tweets on your X account, which, like your filing, identified the name and employment information of this juror. So he admits in the transcript that he was investigating me. So that's not good, Judge Harvey. That's not good at all.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work out really good for a lot of these people that pushed. I mean, around 1,600 or more of these trials. I
Mm,
think there was like one person that was found innocent. That the odds of that are non-existent in any other anywhere else unless you're in a dictatorship.
right. And unfortunately, you know, I know it's personal for everybody, but there was probably, I would say around 80% were closed through plea deals.
Please, yeah,
And
they try to
if
get you to do that too. Yeah.
Oh, several times. And if we had really pushed back on the courts as a whole, we could have brought that whole system to its knees right
Oh,
then, and there, you know? Because they don't want trials. They're not prepared to do all this stuff. They want the plea deal, the cash, move on, next person, you know?
yep.
So
And your lawyer in any other case would have like destroyed them, and I think he did, in my
he
opinion.
did destroy them.
He destroyed them. Now, can you tell us about his current involvement, or is that something?
Well, he's now with the DOJ, so he can't represent me. He's not doing private practice, but you know, he's a friend.
Well, that's good because the DOJ came after you, and I remember that woman that was with the DOJ. Every time that you guys brought up something that was basically going to destroy their case, they had to like do this the screen thing where
Oh,
it's like gee, no one could
yeah.
hear anything, and they were like on the phone. Everybody's on the phone. They did that so many times. They were doing. You guys were
It
on the
was
phone more than you were,
it was
talking
every minute,
during the
every
case.
time Jonathan opened his mouth, phones. In fact, so the last day, my favorite day of the trial was when David Summerall testified for me.
Me too. Wow.
Him and Jonathan played that courtroom like a drum
Totally.
because so the prosecutor thinks she's all smart after she questions David on the stand, and she was really rude to him. She called
Hmm.
him a grifter and said, you know, what do you think of 1776? And you think we all belong in jail? And David's like, yeah, I do. You think the jury belongs in jail? Yeah, I do. And the judge. Yeah, probably. So he got her pretty wound up. So she plays this video of what the government wanted to say, the police line falling apart because the protesters surged. That was their story. So
Hmm.
I'm sitting next to Jonathan and she's playing that video. And Jonathan's like, oh, please play it to the end. Please, please. You know, we're just whispering to each other. She
Right.
does. She plays it right to the very end. So he gets up and he goes, I've got a video too. And he had sent that video to Harvey and to her maybe 2 days before or a night before because you have to share everything you're going to do. And she gets up and she goes, Your Honor, I don't know where Mr. Gross is going with this. And the judge sits back. He had watched the video and he goes, Oh, I know where he's going with this. So Jonathan shows the video and it shows the Capitol Police. They were going to shoot CS gas up into the scaffolding area. And then he takes the gun and he points it down to the cement and it shoots off. And the police all get gas. The wind blows all the
Oh, that
gas
was that was
around.
so amazing.
And they're all like running back, coughing, hacking, you know. So it showed that the line didn't collapse because of the protesters. It collapsed because of their own actions.
Their own
So,
idiocy. It's like
yeah.
throwing a grenade and it bounces back and blows up in on your guys. So that's basically what happened. So
Yes.
they all just scramble, and then you know, there were
So a
people in
fair
the crowd
jury
that
should,
were definitely suspect people, like you were talking about that one police officer that was not pro-Trump but had a pro-Trump everything on and was telling everybody to push
go in the
forward and
Capitol.
go into the Capitol.
Yeah.
Yep.
There are many like that,
Yep.
many questionable people that, hindsight is what it is. And as David has gone through multitudes of these videos, he's picked out some of those bad actors and said, okay, this guy's doing the same thing that Cindy did. How come he didn't get charged?
Yeah.
Well,
Now
so
this one is this first clip we're going to play is tear gas and munitions fired randomly into the crowds. Now the you can tell that these people are not being violent. They're
no,
not
they're not.
pushing.
They're shocked.
They're just basically trying to instigate a riot on
Mhm,
purpose. And
mhm.
it's very obvious. So a lot of people, unfortunately, like we talked about Tiananmen Square, we basically had a Tiananmen Square where the government came into peaceful protesters in Tiananmen Square and started to fire upon them and
Yeah.
drove them out and then arrested a bunch of them, put them in gulags and so forth. And so that's basically what happened on J6.
Mhm.
And so we're going to see the results of a lot of that now. I know a lot of people haven't seen this kind of stuff. I saw it in your trial, and I've seen little clips of it here and there, but this is really well done. You picked out some really good ones. So as you
So
can see there, as those guys were just hanging out, they're laughing. There's you see at the front, there's no pushing going on. Uh, Now, this scaffolding, this was supposed to be events that were going to be happening all day long, like bands, and President Trump was going to speak, and all this kind of stuff. That got canceled, obviously,
mhm.
because the police started instigating riots.
Right.
So they had
And
to
when
call it
you
all
look
out.
at the munitions, I mean, if you're doing crowd control, number one, you don't shoot munitions at the head. We've got a video that I didn't share with you, but it's called Seven Headshots. We tracked the rubber bullets hitting seven people in the head. And firing gas into the middle of the crowd versus the front of the crowd, all you're doing is you're driving that crowd forward. That's exactly what the intention was.
Yeah, and I've seen some of those people that were wounded in the face and so forth.
Hmm.
They're pretty horrific wounds.
Oh, yeah.
No one ever saw those. This was
No.
a masterpiece of control. This was this was a dictatorship that controlled completely the narrative. But a lot of us, have been trying to push, this information out, and here it is.
Yeah, you can see the people are upset. They're upset. Why are you firing at us?
Again, right here. So
Yeah.
everybody's just standing here. Get people holding the flag, patriots. Now, I know you and David Summerall said very, very. It was very well said. What you said is like there's a lot of people that just don't want to get involved in this. They don't care. It's like, why don't you guys just move on with your life?
Mhm.
It's probably because of those that are MAGA supporters that are going to save our country. And this is showing what we will put up with to save our country. Most people aren't there. I mean, even you go back to Revolutionary War, Civil War, so forth. There were patriots that stood up and saved our country and
And I
created.
think we really scared them that day. I really do. I think
Yeah.
they realized the power of the people when the people stand up and they were like, this, we can't let this happen again. And that's why they
Mhm.
went so hard after everybody.
Yeah, they really tried to downplay the numbers, but I believe there were well over 1 million people that were there.
Yeah, I agree. See, it's going into the middle of the crowd. And some of those munitions too, Mike, the triple chasers, do you know what that is? It explodes like 3 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they had some crazy stuff. One of the guys that I interviewed, he was like, they were using gas that I don't even know if it's approved to be used.
Mm.
So, and he was military. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's very frustrating to see all this stuff. All right, so that's one. Let's look at Lara Logan's.
Woman,
Yeah.
battered and bleeding, made it impossible to deny that terrible crimes were committed that day against the American people. The victim's name was never mentioned by the January 6th committee, but it's one we think you'll remember when you see what happened to Victoria Charity White. We turned to the security camera to see what happened during that time. It showed Lieutenant Bagshaw repeatedly punching Victoria. Another unidentified officer in a black uniform could be seen stabbing her with a baton again and again. Victoria White, who you can see was surrounded, was obviously in no position to threaten or attack anyone. The single mom from Minnesota, then 39 years old, was hit and stabbed more than 40 times with a metal baton and punched in the face at least 5 times by Lieutenant Bagshaw. She was fighting to stay alive.
So what they show you,
Jason Bagshaw among those who received the MPD's Ribbon of Valor at their annual awards ceremony some 9 months after January 6. Bagshaw was promoted a few months later in 2021, and again the following year on April 7th. The MPD was ranked third in the nation for misconduct settlements. At this point, you have blood running down your face. Did anyone try to help you with medical assistance? Mm-mm.
so what they show you in the when they're talking the narrative over and over and over is they show you the outside of that tunnel and everybody rushing toward that tunnel. You see guys climbing over each other and it looks like they're attacking. That was what was going on inside that tunnel. And when you have a bunch of military trained men that are alpha warriors, what are they going to do when they watch a woman getting beaten like that? They're going to react.
That's
And
what.
they knew it. They knew it.
Mhm. That's a good point. They were trying to instigate the whole time, and it's so frustrating. I can't believe that more people that aren't more proactive with this at this point. But videos like this that we're gonna be promoting and pushing out, it's going to help awaken more people. Truth, it doesn't matter when it comes out.
No.
We're looking at, close to 5 years after this happened. And, we've seen throughout time, crimes that have been committed by people 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, and people get convicted. So we're going to see a lot of these people, I believe, they're going to be convicted.
I hope so. They
Right.
have to be.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be another big event like 9/11, Ruby Ridge, Waco, blah, blah, Oklahoma, talk about all of them that
Mhm.
just gets swept under the rug with no answers and many questions unanswered. And they're talking about, okay, a new J6 committee. They're all happy about that. They're going to come out with their final report at the end of 2026. We've got people dying every day because they can't deal with this anymore.
Mhm.
And we need it fixed before 2026.
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely. So here's another one where this one officer, Leila Morris, basically
Mhm.
is beating. I believe she beats this woman, Roseanne Boylan, to death,
Yeah,
and
Roseanne was unconscious when
she
she
was
did all.
unconscious, and this woman is beating on her unconscious. Unbelievable. So you're going to see over here. Let me move us out
Yeah,
of the
show them where
way.
she is because
Yeah. So
it's,
she's over here in this right corner. You're going to see her take a baton or a stick and just start hammering away.
I think
There's
she's
one
got
guy that comes
yellow
up.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a yellow vest on, so it'll become obvious, and we'll pause at some point when she starts to beat. So as you can see, they're getting extremely violent with the crowd, and the crowd is basically fighting back.
Right. They've
Because
got a
just like
woman
you
that's
you you
that's
you said, you were just kind of like there, and the crowd pushed you for
yeah.
the most
Well,
part.
look at the density of the
Yeah.
crowd. You're not going to go the other direction. You can't.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
why Roseanne ended up unconscious on the ground. She was trampled to begin with.
Yeah. All right. So here she is right here. You can see her just going off of that stick over and over again.
Yeah, and she got to go to the Super Bowl for her heroic
So
activity.
this guy right here is an actor, famous actor, and he brings up his crutch to try and stop this crazy woman from beating Roseanne.
Yep.
So that's some of the situation that was there that day. There was crimes that were being committed almost exclusively by the police, right? The Capitol Police and so forth. I saw a lot of these guys come out and, make their comments and testimony and so forth. Uh, as someone that is a warrior, that is someone that, has protected people and so forth. For the most part, these people are um, POSs. All right, extremely horrible, horrible, horrible people. And we had the one head of the Capitol Police basically resign, and didn't he end up dying shortly after that? Got hit by a car or suicide or something like that.
I'm not no, I think he's still around, but
Okay.
he was now there's a guy Manger that I think is like at the top, and we got to get rid of him. I talked to a guy Tarek Johnson, who's a Capitol Police actually. I mean, there's still a lot of corruption within the Capitol Police, within the DOJ, and they're covering stuff up. They are
Yeah.
looking to run out the clock on this, let me
That's
tell you.
it. They have to, because they know they're criminals, and the
Yeah.
only safe thing they can do is just hope that people forget, run out the clock, push back, lie, point fingers at other people. So I don't know how much longer it's going to last for them. But here's these guys that are in prison now. Now
So this is the gulag. This is
some of
the
these were really bad. Uh, you know, was it Jake Lang was he was in solitary for long periods of time.
80% of his time. He was in there for 4 years and 6 days, I think. And yeah, he most of his time was in solitary.
Yeah. So fortunately for you, you were able because they at first of all they did investigation on you. So like there's nothing there. And
Yeah.
so we're closed, case closed. And then they decided to do it again. Tell us
Yeah,
about
they
it.
decided after Merrick Garland wrote his letter about parents attending school board meetings being domestic terrorists. And lo and behold, I'd been at a school board meeting talking about masking and CRT and that it's junk, get it out of our schools. And I got caught on the television station in New Hampshire, and boom, FBI at my door right after that. Again, opening up another case on me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who were the real domestic terrorists? Our
Well,
government.
I don't know. These guys they say were, but
Yeah. Well, let's look at these domestic terrorists who they say were domestic terrorists.
Well, right now, maybe. So every guard, no matter what guard is working in here, they're sleeping just like this. All right, so we're such, so put on crikey, down here in Australia, wild, yeah. This we are trained to watch our foot. We are the domestic terrorists. We're such bad terrorists that these officers come in here and pass out asleep with all their stuff on the table, radios on the table, keys on the table, and that would not happen. I've been to other units. I've been to the jail side, the CDF side. I've been in the hole wrongfully. I've been in Medical 82 before. I've been in other units. And I'm telling you, an officer would never, ever fall asleep on another unit. On this unit, they come in here and notoriously fall asleep all the time. I don't know if you said it or not because I was out there eating, but they're always bitching about us having our mask on because the camera's watching. Camera ain't watching shit. You're sleeping all day. All day. All day. All.
God.
yeah.
Even the cameras aren't really watching them.
No.
It's like Jeffrey Epstein, going on here.
I know, right? But to have the keys and the radio on the desk, I mean, how scared were they of the people
Yeah.
that they were
And
putting
you
in?
saw how crowded that place was. This guys were in there, tables all around them and talking and it's like carrying on. He's fast asleep.
Yep.
Crazy. Wow. So historical panel of inquiry begins now.
Yes. So David Summerall and Tim Rivers and Tamara Lee, I think her last name is, they decided we're not going to wait for the J6 committee to be reestablished.
Good.
They are going ahead,
Yes.
interviewing people, putting it on record so that the history of what really happened to people is never lost. And they're doing it in a formal fashion, which is the historical inquiry. So they're starting to come out. I think they've done 3 or 4 so far, and they're really good.
That's good because this is something we've been talking about. Me, Scott McKay, and some other people have been talking about tactical civics. And we have been saying that we can't wait for this judicial system to give us, justice. We have to start to do these ourselves. This is actually something that happened in Soviet Russia, and that was part of the collapse of Soviet Russia, Soviet Union. And now we have the Russia, which is free again. But they had tactical civics groups which started doing investigation. A lot of their stuff was on pedophilia trafficking rings. And eventually, some of the people within the administration started to come down and said, you guys have done all the work for us. All we got to do is just push and do the conviction now. And they started convicting people left and right and basically collapse the Soviet Union. So that's what we need to do. So let's watch this one.
Well, it was actually 3 felonies because I bumped into 3 officers. And if you bump into a DC officer, it's a felony. And there's a law, it's 111, 18111, I believe. And it basically says that if you impede, restrict, or assault a federal officer, it's a felony. And what they did at my trial was the prosecutor would work with the police officer. I remember one police officer said he didn't even remember me. And when you look at the video, you can see why. I basically bumped into his back when I was stumbling around from being shoved back. And he looked at me for 2 seconds and then turned away because he saw I wasn't a threat. I just had bumped into him. But the prosecutor worked with that guy for about 15 minutes. And finally, the officer said that I had impeded him. Well, under that law, if a an officer says you impeded him, that law says impede, restrict, or assault. And so what they did at trial was basically showed that I impeded these officers, meaning that I distracted them for a few seconds. And then I was rather disgusted afterwards that after they had done that, in my sentencing to the judge, and every time after that, the prosecutor would say assault. And because that law says impede, resist, or assault. So once they had convicted me of impeding, they always used the word assault. You look at all the press reports and the sentencing and my sentencing hearing, the prosecution uses the word assault dozens of times.
Yep. That's what they did with me too. They, because I had misdemeanors.
Just wrong.
that were-
Judge Royce C. Lambert sentenced you to 46 months in prison and 36 months supervised release.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
So they basically changed the wording on my misdemeanor charges to make sure that the word violent was in there because that was what they were after, was violent, you know.
I mean, everyone that's watching, I mean, look at Cindy Young. Does she look like somebody that could, you know, provoke violence against somebody? I guess anybody could. A baby could, really. Could kick you in the face if you got down and like cuckooed it too much. And you could, like, you know, take you to jail, put it in jail or something. That's kind of what we're looking at here. You know, this guy was shoved by other police officers and he bumped into other police officers. So they called it assault.
Right, right.
And
That's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they did for our everything. They
In fact,
bumped it up.
even the laws that we have are not very clear on a lot of things, like this whole thing with the juror. It doesn't say that the juror is confidential for now and forever, that, you know, after the juror's been discharged, that he's still confidential. People write books about jurors, so I don't understand that at all. I think they're grasping because that law says nothing about post-trial as far as confidentiality.
So Nancy Pelosi, like didn't they the night before the J6 riots, didn't they make the Capitol off limits because of COVID or something like that?
Yeah.
So up until that point, it was the people's you know, place.
the
Anyone could
people's
come
house.
in.
Yeah.
But on that day, the night before, they had made it illegal to come in because of COVID.
And not
Who
only
knew about
that,
that law? Was that law distributed to everybody? No, no one knew about that. So when people went into the Capitol, which is, you know, they threw open the doors and pretty much invited everybody in, pushed everybody in. It was okay. And you see people being escorted around. You see the guy with the, you know, the horns that he's walking around and he's being escorted around. You could probably do an event in here and it wouldn't harm anything. So like, you'll be on camera and then eventually you're going to go to prison. So we've already got this all lined up. Wow.
and not only that they restricted the building, but you saw the activity that was outside the Capitol early on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Inside the Capitol, Pence is just walking around like it's a good old day. And of course, he's the vice president. They had to keep him in that building to make all those charges stick because with him in the building, that upcharged a lot of people's charges because the vice president was in the building. He was supposedly down in the tunnel when a lot of the activity took place, but they kept him in the building to keep the charges to stick.
And for that specific reason, because I can tell you, having been on lots of protective details, if there's any kind of threat like they were saying there was, he would have been escorted down into tunnels, into the car, and they would have been quickly out of there. But yeah, you're right. He was kept there just so they could, push those charges. So they all had a plan. Pence
Yeah.
was in on it. We know that.
Yeah.
All Pence had to do on that day was push that because it was obvious there were lots of anomalies that needed to be investigated on the election. So the election was rigged. Everybody knew it. They knew it. We knew it. All Pence had to do was say, okay, send it back to the states, do 10 days at least worth of investigation, and then we'll come back and we'll vote on it. He didn't do that. So they had this riot, and then it came back in the middle of the morning, night, whatever, and they
Night.
voted to basically make unelected person the president of the United States. So
After Pence got his coin. Did
yeah,
you
he got his he's got his silver coins, Judas. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's on the record too. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that out there. It's very, very unfortunate. All the stuff that happened on that day. Very amazing. So let's look at another little clip that you had to share with us. So I think this is Brazil. Brazil had almost an identical thing happen down there that we did.
Hi, they're tear gassing. Our own government is tear gassing people that we've employed. They're tear gassing us. The bottom of the. You were the bottom of the step.
Have people done anything to,
No, nothing. Peacefully protesting.
you were just standing there.
And don't let that fake news tell you otherwise. We were peacefully protesting.
Well, and they didn't say anything.
Did anyone get hurt?
Yeah, I think that's outside the Capitol, actually.
And a man and a woman coming out. She was limping and his ears were bleeding. She had blood all over her coat. Hi, they're tear gassing our own government.
Yeah, that was outside on January 6th, outside the Capitol.
Crazy. So that's some of the things that you had to share with us. Now, let's look at a little clip of David Summerall that you did on your show, From the Heart. And there's several clips in here. You should watch the whole thing. I highly recommend everybody watch the whole thing. So I'll put the link to that in our description box. So Stop the Steal, DC 16, and you're going to see the police officers here and all the stuff that we've been talking about.
Another projectile right here. Now you see where he's standing. You see anything happening right here? Nobody's really fighting. But watch.
So this is David Summerall, and he's the one that's commentating. He came to your trial and revealed a lot of this information too. And like you said, the Department of Justice representative basically tried to, belittle him, make him look bad. Now, I was also surprised that the judge went down and talked to the jury as well.
Mhm.
That is unbelievable. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so at the end of the trial, Jonathan made a motion that he wanted to step back and speak to the jurors after they had come in with their verdict. And it was, I forget which rule it was, but Harvey hadn't even heard of the rule. He didn't know what it was about. And Jonathan said, he was really confused by it. And Jonathan said, I just want to know what I could have done differently. That's what I want to talk to him about. Only one juror dared to stay there to talk to him. But that one juror made some admissions that are very interesting. He said how he was glad that he had that foreman that he had that helped them reach their decision. That juror 374 that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, yeah.
Wow.
And Harvey, of course, Harvey couldn't let Jonathan go on his own. He went down there, to join the party.
Crazy.
Goes over the crowd where they're standing, chanting USA, USA, not moving forward, not trying to advance. There's that separation we're talking about. It goes into the middle of this crowd, right? Look at these people down here. They're not fighting. See all the smoke? That makes people run, gets people trampled.
There you go. Rubber
You
bullet.
guys
in
see
the
that on
face.
CNN, ABC, NBC? They're not going to show you what they did to us. They want you to think we were bad guys.
Now, did that go all the way through?
Yep.
Because it looks like he has a
Water cotton in his
lot of
mouth.
cotton or, something to
It's
stop the
still
bleeding.
lodged in his cheek, I think. But it did go all the way through. It loosened his teeth.
Wow.
There's an interview that I did with him, like one of the early on ones, yeah. And he's got quite a scar left from it.
Mm,
It's crazy.
that's
But
pretty.
again, even after that, he still knew that he needed to stay there and stand for what was right,
Oh my God. That's amazing. And that's what over 1 million of us did. Even though we were getting that it was probably going to be compromised. I even did a show the night before with a gentleman that has, very Ole Demigard, who has extremely good intuition on when there's going to be false flag events. He's
Yeah.
done a lot of them in Europe. He basically had to flee Europe. He lives overseas now, but he on my show said, "Tomorrow, Michael, you're going to have false flag." And I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, bummer." And but a lot of us had heard that. I think we probably would have like 3 to 5 million people there, but a lot of people were kind of scared off because
Yeah.
they had heard that there was going to be a disruption by the bad guys, and we
Well,
definitely saw it.
even the Capitol Police had intelligence that said 3 days before, that was the whole National Guard thing. Trump
Yeah,
offered the National Guard. They declined it because, optics, it wouldn't look good. But again, part of the setup, they wanted this to happen.
yeah.
So what do you think about that one, Dave? That was you narrating, right?
Yeah, that was at a speech. So we posted that on X. I think it was 2021 into I think December. But that's from a speech from June of 2021, just a couple of months after January 6th, and we were already destroying the narrative in so many ways. And yet the power of the censorship and the propaganda, the media arm, and then of course, as we know, the government arm doing the same things. And we were just trying to tell the truth of the experiences that we had and what people were there for. And still just the other day, Cindy, I had somebody saying, well, y'all shouldn't have been there. If you're going to run in the house, if you ran in my house, I said, wait, this is before they went in the house. This is in the yard still. And they said, well, you should have known and you should have left. I said, you couldn't leave. And they said, well, what about the munitions? I said, well, they didn't throw them at the front to drive the crowd back. They threw it in the middle of the crowd to make it go forward and backwards and sideways. People just don't understand because the TV people, the news guys, got out the first words. Oh, it was terrible. Officer Sicknick got murdered and all these.
Five policemen died that day, and there was poop on the walls, and
Yes.
you name it.
Yes. And that's a great point. And here I know we've talked to several of our friends in this little small tight-knit community about that one particular thing. But if there was any poop anywhere, feces, anything, anywhere, somebody would have had a real charge for it. They would have had real pictures of it. They would have had real video of it, probably coming out of somebody if that was the case. Now, I'm not against saying that the mayor took all the bathrooms from us, so nobody had a place to go to the bathroom. I'm not saying that that's what people did because I don't think they did. I think we tracked mud in the building and they said that looks like poop. Let's say that they got poop everywhere, but that's not what anybody was doing. When they got inside, they were asking the policeman, is there a restroom close? Because the mayor made sure we didn't have any outside. Now, I know a lot of people using the bathroom in the bushes outside and stuff. I get that, but we weren't defecating, defacing.
A picture of him.
All right. So this next one's really good too because
All right, let me tell you though about this poop story because
Yeah.
I spent the weekend in New York with Jake Lang and a couple of his buddies that were in the Gulag together. And
Mhm.
one of them actually told me the story of how that got surfaced. Nancy Pelosi's daughter interviewed him in the Gulag, and he was messing with her. And he said, well, I could have defecated on her desk. And they ran with that. And it was all made up. He made it up. So
Yeah, kind of like you bump into somebody, it becomes a violent,
fact.
violence. So against a
Mhm.
police officer, yeah, this is the way they do things.
Kevin,
Oh,
yeah,
this
so
guy.
this is who,
All right, so we're looking at the teeth here of this gentleman that's doing instigating everyone to go inside the Capitol, and it's the same guy. And we're gonna go a little bit deeper on this one. This is part of the conspiracy theory that we've been pushing. That's been proven that these guys had instigators. And then after this, they were high level people. It would be like, like you were talking about, Stephen Miller in the crowd, yelling at everybody to go riot in a Black Lives Matter or something. So, and then they all get like, arrested and go to prison, and he goes to their trials and talks. It is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's
Wait till you find out who his buddy is.
yeah. Let's listen.
J6 committee.
Mm-hmm.
this was who was yelling all those orders from the scaffolding, Sky here. And that's a picture of John Nichols, who's a very good friend of Jamie Raskin, who was one of the largest mouths on the select committee, had most to say, still does have a lot to
So
say.
weird how that works.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. So let's play a little clip of Jamie Raskin with his friend John Nichols. Let's take a look at them together and just remember that picture.
I knew you'd say that. Let us. I want to try and cover a lot of territory tonight in a relatively short amount of time, and I thought it might be best to begin with the news, and to begin with kind of the activities that you are most known for at this moment and most engaged with, and that is obviously the January 6th committee and activities related to Donald Trump. So let's start with the basics. How much trouble is Donald Trump in?
Well, I think there are very few people on earth who could wake up and handle all of the legal troubles he's brought upon himself. When it came out about the fact that he'd been pilfering thousands of government documents, many of them classified top secret documents, and leaving them around this public hotel, which is a famous magnet for foreign spies and people from other, countries and so on. When we heard that, all of us on the January 6th committee were completely shocked, because that's a completely different crime. That has nothing to do with what we've been investigating, which was, of course, his determined efforts to overthrow the 2020 presidential election by trying to force the state legislatures.
Enough is enough.
Enough is
It's not the
enough.
Jamie Raskin show.
But do you see any
But that's a good indicator right there. We're going to see a little bit more of this. They all work together to cause this, and then to cause lawfare against President Trump and lawfare against J6ers that were basically innocent. We're just there, supporting an election that was being stolen. Was stolen. Now, you guys brought up a very good point that we need to fix this, because there's a lot of people saying we're going to go back, we're going to fix 2020, and we're going to go back to 2016. Do we keep going all the way back to JFK? No, we need to fix this right now. This is an easy fix, very, very easy fix. And then we can move on, because a lot of you guys just want to move on with your lives.
Yeah.
There's going to be probably at some point a lot of people held accountable. And as more people are freed to talk and can see, like we're showing, you can talk about this, more people are going to come out and talk about it.
Yeah. And hopefully push back too. I mean, a lot of us now can look at our trials and look at some of the things that occurred that
Mhm.
were violations of our constitutional rights and push back and highlight those things.
Yeah. I mean, we can look back on 9/11. There's a lot of things that happened 9/11 that people are starting to become aware of now, like
Yeah.
the planes
And
crashing.
it does take time. David
Yeah.
says, like he was putting this information out in 2021 and people are just waking up to it. And thank you, Mike, for doing this because we need to keep it fresh in people's minds
Yeah,
and keep it out
absolutely.
there.
Let's go a little bit deeper in this and reveal what's going on here. And I think that's one of the things that people need. And you see the truth and how these people, massively manipulated this information and got away with it until now. So now we're starting to reveal, and the reveal is going to continue to increase as we go forward.
Blends between John Nichols and the scaffold commander.
Yeah, I think those teeth are a dead giveaway. He should have got those fixed. His parents were too tight, they were too cheap. They said, John, you'll be fine. Live with the teeth. And he said, this is going to come back to bite me.
And Raskin's talking about the legal problems that Trump had. I think the tide might be shifting a little bit.
Well, it's funny because Raskin just said there were very few people on this earth that could wake up to the problems he wakes up to. You mean he's extraordinary? Thank you. Thank you. He's an extraordinary human. He can handle stuff that a lot of people can't handle. So he's the right man for the job. That's right.
Right. So that's, still another open question that people tend to like to have discussions about and have cognitive dissonance about. But it's pretty clear to me who the guy is. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't have much trouble putting those teeth together. I mean, that's really what it comes down to for me. You can't have that jacked up of teeth in two different heads with those similar little scrawny bodies, little bitty mini man stuff, little tiny boy, and then to have the glasses and the teeth. I mean, that's a dead giveaway. I mean, somebody should.
All right, so here he is basically instigating the crowd. Now you've seen the backstory on him. Now here's where it all began.
Can't hear it, but those are the words he's saying.
Oh, you can't hear it?
Nope.
So have you been hearing any of this?
Before I was, this one just.
All right, let me go back and make sure that my share is. I got the sound on. It's probably what it is. Sorry, I didn't do that before, but yeah, here he is, basically telling everybody to go into the Capitol.
So you hear that guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. All of the different things that, we know that there were Ukrainians in the crowd instigating, breaking windows and all that kind of stuff. That's been proven. None of that stuff really came out. If we're going to do this correctly, then we're going to have to do it ourselves, I believe. And I think those guys that are pushing and doing that, that's fantastic. We need more of that. Conduct our own trials.
Yeah. And keep pushing back like I'm trying to do with the courts. And right now I've got my case. And the interesting thing is that so Harvey is all about what needs to be redacted in all the information. That's what he's focused on. He's avoiding the juror issue. He's avoiding the sealed evidence issue like the plague. And it's just showing more bias in his approach because he's delaying things on the docket intentionally. So here's where I stand. I know that Harvey has a handler, and that handler is Chutkin, because my case got passed from Chutkin to Harvey, and I believe that she just makes sure he does her bidding. And so I don't think he's got it within him to rule truthfully with justice in my favor. I think he's going to deny, he's going to, overrule or whatever he does and try to put an end to it. And that'll put me into the point where I have to appeal within 14 days. So I'm preparing for that.
Right. Now, are you going to, do any kind of suits against any of this?
Yeah, when all is said and done, I will come back around and do that too. And I'm also going to file some judicial complaints, and I've already filed complaints on the juror, which they were all upset about, but that's my right. He didn't lie under oath, but he didn't tell the truth under oath either. So, I guess omission is a lie in my world.
Definitely. Now, you have a give, send, go. We're gonna share the screen and show that. Now, what's your latest
Yeah.
thing that you're doing with the give, send, go?
So the latest thing is, as I'm preparing on the judicial misconduct, I really need transcripts. And as a defendant, what they don't tell you is during like pretrial, do you want your transcript? They don't ask you, they just move on. So asking for them to record the transcript from that portion of my trial is going to cost me $841 for the transcript. Yeah, it's by the page, by the word, all of that. And it was pretty lengthy. It was a couple of days of discussion. But in those transcripts, I can take the words that were used against me, like, I don't want to hear about the First Amendment in my courtroom, and we're going to prove this in court, a statement to the prosecution, things like that. Those are all things that I can use, quoted from the transcript, to prove misconduct.
Goodness. So you need another $1,241.
Yeah, to prepare for the going to appeal. Appeal's going to cost $400. So the minute he rules, I've got 14 days to file the appeal and the $400 to go forward with appeal.
Wow. So we were just at an event in Maine. We're happy to see you there, and we sold a bunch of my books, and we gave you a bunch of we gave you that money that we got from the books.
Yeah.
So that's, and we've helped you out a lot, but I give money to the J6ers every month. Jake Lang distributes that money, so it is an ongoing thing. You guys need our help to seek justice that helps all of us.
And that's what the courts count on. They've destroyed us financially. So they count on the fact that we can't fight back because we don't have the money to fight back.
Sure.
So, and I do appreciate, Mike, you've been a huge help to me. And I'm so glad that we're friends,
Oh yeah, me too. Because I totally believe in your cause. You're like, I could have some of these alpha males out there, and they don't have the kind of go get them that you do. And of course, your backstory is pretty impressive as well. You've been at this since a little kid, so
Yeah.
wow, what a great story. So, are you writing a book too? Did you say something about writing a book?
Yeah, I'm a good portion through it, although the stuff that I'm dealing with right now is probably going to have to be in the tail end section of that book.
Nice.
I'm at the point of trial, that chapter, which is going to be a lengthy one. But
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping it be out like late fall, early December, maybe.
Very good.
It's coming. Yeah, And, you know, if people want to donate, and you want to put, you know, pre-order the book with your donation, I'll send you a signed copy of the book when it comes out.
Oh, that's
So
brilliant. Very good. Very smart. So how do they do that?
just put on the donation, just put pre-order unbound, unbowed,
Unbowed. Okay.
unbowed.
Unbowed. Okay. Great. So Give, Send, Go, and that's Cindy Young.
Hmm.
Yep. And that pulls it up.
Yep.
Very good. All right. So yeah, definitely guys, help out however you can. It does make a difference. If more of us get involved in this, you know, not just monetarily, but also sharing these videos, talking about it. This is far from over, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's more to be done here. And
And
we have to
pushing
do
for that
this.
pardon of innocence.
Yeah.
Pardon of innocence.
Pardon of innocence. And that's what we're pushing on a lot of different levels to, you know, transpire. So the more we talk about this, the more we share this, the more likely contact because a lot of these congressmen and senators, they shied away from this massively.
Mm.
And a lot of the people that are out there, I'm not going to name names, but you know, Dave Summerall talked about how there's a lot of people that are in the truth community. They just string this along because it basically gets some views, and they don't care
Right.
about, you know, fire hosing the truth out there like he does, you know, like we do. Uh, we're trying to get this resolved, and we really need to get this truth out there. And some of these guys are dragging their feet.
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
Intentionally, I would say too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well,
Cindy,
thank you.
thank you. Yeah, it's always been a pleasure and honor. You have such great information, very articulate with it. I mean, everybody can see you're speaking from the heart. So that's probably why you've been very successful. You know, God's looked over you, and you know, so have people that you know have that same mindset. You know, to help God, help us. You know, so how do we help ourselves? We get involved. God is giving you. You're one of His messengers to help us wake up and you know, push back on this evil that has corrupted our government.
Yep. Stay in the love vibration and smile at them.
Very good. All right. So that I don't say the smile, but I should. All right, Sandy, that's beautiful. Thanks a lot.
All right. Love you, Mike.
Love
Take
you
care.
too.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.